how can we look at DAOs to reorganize and reshape the different industries that feed into what we're doing and all of the different beautiful creations that you make. So as we're trying to highlight, whether it's an arts DAO, music DAO, fashion DAO, there's a lot of decisions that we can make. And as we voted before for Instagram, Amazon, or any of these other corporates that we use, the way we're going to have to vote and use on the Web3 technology is up to us. So we're going to have to reorganize, reshape the way we think, and get into doing experiments creatively. So historically, if you look at the old company structure, whether this was a big fashion conglomerate or an arts capital holder, essentially what blockchain DAO mining people are saying is this has non-diverse decision making. So there's usually a really tight stakeholder group, director group that controls, maybe like LVMH, a huge amount of brands, staff and different outputs, and this isn't great. And why this is not great, one of the main things is it's actually quite slow to innovate. This really small people that hold a bunch of capital might not be excited about the grassroots ideas or even hear that for another 2-3 years. So at the very least, this is slow. And then when you look at where innovation is often happening at that grassroots level and the different cultures forming, that gap is usually so hard that it takes a while to trickle down. And then again, when you look at the Web 2 problem attached to this corporation problem, you've got the FANG stocks, but many other, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and obviously how they use cookies and our data to resell it back to advertisers and to create this whole consumer element. We're excluded from it, essentially. We're users, we're compliant, and we're giving very good data, but in actual essence, the people making that data are removed from it, in fact, being arbitraged by it. So all fashion designers, digital fashion designers on Instagram are essentially providing free marketing for this data selling platform that they use for advertising without us realizing it. And again, if this worked transparently, if the creators, this would be great. But as we know, Spotify, YouTube, etc., they start to slim the margins for these creators down. So you're producing, you're investing in your different equipment and your time. So your costs are going up, but at the same time, your profitability and the things you can yield from these platforms are getting reduced if you're a YouTube creator, etc. And again, their levels of responsibility in this are very poor, as there's no collective decision making. If the YouTube bosses decide it or Instagram decides it, this is now what they have to do. So yeah, if you follow the history of this, as lots of us all here know, we were not playing with all digital platforms before, and now we're suggesting very heavy integration with the metaverse. So this all started with those early platforms from peer-to-peer trading, LimeWire, and those early torrents, onto those seeds of Facebook, Twitter, and what we now see as those social media monoliths. And if you look at the way people have interacted with those, we were maybe the cat video generation in early 2000s, just watching not the greatest levels of content on YouTube, and then like the long form education started to come in. We started to get influencers, people who had whole brands or channels on YouTube, then Twitch. So what we've really seen is this staging down of the ownership and some of the economy coming into the creators more and more. Now you can set up a YouTube and run your whole business or life off it, etc. And then we're suggesting the next level of future, where designers are creating garments for games. These interlink with podcasts and music metaverse events. So we're really suggesting this web come down to the creative level, and that we own it together, which is where DAOs come in. So we're suggesting this fluid natured entity. A really prime example of that, as as I mentioned, lots of us here are on the Metaverse Fashion Council, while owning our own separate brands, Alterage as well. And the way these organizations fluidly move some of the staff, some of the ideas, some of the partnerships, have a more fluid and efficient mechanism than that old hierarchy, actually. So using this voting that we will speak about soon. So really, a DAO, when you think of your wallet or your account on MetaMask, this is you, this is your decentralized identity for now, and you're acting as a single player when you're trading crypto or buying NFTs. And then when we bring together a selection of these wallets, usually linked by a Gnosis safe or a snapshot, some kind of tool, then this is where we become a DAO or a decentralized collective, or we get into this territory. There's later things with NFTs, but essentially we're suggesting shared ownership of digital assets and fluid decision-making between them. So if we collect a bunch of very expensive NFTs and then we decide to move them, transfer them, we can just do that on the fly with our MetaMask and Snapshot Gnosis account. And then we're also suggesting to integrate, like I'll get onto this later, in the same way that any current industry is clipped into the finance, property, and capital industry of that geography. The same as we're saying in blockchain, that if you're a fashion producer or an arts producer, you will be on the protocol DeFi level and hosting infrastructure for your geography as well. So this is integrated into the system, which we will come on to in more depth later. And importantly, this removes the need for any bosses. Anyone who is a DAO owner or has that wallet can just verify, transfer without the need for oversight. So these are the layers, what I'm talking about the blockchain. So in ArtSect, we operate a marketplace and physical outlets, but this comes into DAO incubation infrastructure. This is very much similar for the Metaverse Fashion Council. They have this DAO incubation infrastructure, and we'll be using education mechanisms and services and advisory mechanisms as their sales outlets, and these will go across the metaverse. But then all of these different DAO groups will plug into a crowd-funded DeFi layer. Anchor is a really good example for now, where you can start to pool your resources together and essentially give more efficiency. So if ArtSect completes its raise and has a nice amount of money in its treasury, then this treasury, other DAO members or connected DAO brands would be allowed to incubate themselves to hopefully a more smoother extent than current industry allows. But this, if we can all master this, it would be really exciting. So if Facebook and the rest of the conglomerates manage to own that top infrastructure of DeFi and brand incubation and marketplaces, it's probably not going to be a very open Web3 space. And if we can really create an amazing ecosystem of value that provides those creators in there, then we could actually have a really, really cool thing. Here's some quick examples of some stuff, amazing things people have done with NFTs and DAOs. So Coachella, they created a Bloom NFT, which was also a ticket to their festival, which also now groups everyone into a big music DAO for further aims. And again, the way they used some of the profits in there, and I think there was some decision making in the festival. Very, very clever. And again, Caldita, there's a few others now, crowd-funded NFT films. So these NFT holders are a DAO that manages the film and the revenue from it. It's a very cool way to crowdfund new forms of media. This is our NFT gallery ArtSect in Hackney. So we've focused on arts, fashion, and music activations since last year. Mixed media, so you can see there's headsets, there's that's a tapestry in the middle, a 9-meter tapestry that had NFTs, digital versions on Rarible, and just a whole bunch. I think this is an old deck now, but there's even more exciting spaces opening up around W1 Curate in London, run by MAD. They've got some really good infrastructure doing immersive technology. Although I did not put a very amazing picture on it, the one in the bottom corner is when we had a digital fashion exhibition with Lauren from Alterage, who will speak later, and we were displaying their really amazing digital fashion designs, and you could scan the QR code and wear that fashion in the gallery as well. Well, we had a party, so very fun applications of digital fashion there. And that was a DAO to DAO. So Lauren, who will speak later, is a DAO, or Alterage is a DAO. She is the leader, and we as ArtSec were a DAO, and this was a DAO to DAO collaboration partnership. We're actually doing an even bigger one next month with the Metaverse Fashion Council has provided resources for everyone to go to Digital Fashion Week in New York, with a collaboration between Alterage, ArtSect, and the brand I'll mention in a second, Never Fade Factory in London. So that's going to be really fun and very cool. Other examples, if you haven't seen, World of Women, Please a DAO, Flamingo DAO, super, super cool. Really good ethics and really good inventions in the space for other people to take inspiration to hopefully build their own DAOs. And just quickly, as there's lots of creators on here, on this bottom point, forming direct relations with art collectors without intermediaries. What I mean by this is similar to how me and Alterage and ArtSect did that exhibition, in that if there's an art collector DAO like Please a DAO or ArtSect, and we collect it in the gallery, then these are new ways, I suppose, that those groups would want to collect and store that work. So this would be, I suppose, the ideal customer for new digital fashion people or sculpture creators, any digital creators, not just selling NFTs, but storing them in time capsules with different, like Pussy Riot DAO is a really good DAO, really activistly set up, so they will store your work for a long time, and it will have quite strong cultural value on the blockchain going forward. So there'll be a very interesting way in which these DAOs start to curate the work that you're doing and position it in the wider sphere. And that involves loads of cool technology. This is quickly Never Fade, which was already running as a collective in Soho. Our good friend T was running that, and this was already a collective physical design that recycles clothes. And as I mentioned, the Metaverse Fashion Council has helped us with ArtSect go to New York and make a phygital version of the garments that are going to be released next month. So look out for that. And obviously, I'm sure you know, Artifact and the rest of the gang has been doing very well. Balenciaga, I think, released a fetish game and some skins. So check out all the big ones if you haven't. Ouroboros, Digital, Institute of Digital Fashion, and The Fabricant are our favorites, and Altero. But yeah, that is us. If anyone would like to get in contact, add us on any of the socials and come say hello.
Wow, thank you, Miki.